Yeah, we should. We should have. During Thanksgiving, we could have something fun or
Yeah. Yep. I'm like, when's the next holiday? I guess it's Valentine's. There's not really a
well, it would be weird to be
cool
naked with an arrow or
what
something.
an arrow. Cupid.
Yeah. Well, maybe
Benoit's
that would.
Cupid. I'll get a heart, like a anatomical heart costume, and just have my valves, and I'll go like this. Hello.
We could play with it. We could play with it. I can be a bot of chocolate, and
A pot of chocolate.
you can be a
Or an
gift ball.
egg.
Or an egg. An egg.
An egg.
An egg.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, that's Easter. Sorry.
How do you enjoy
Whoa.
Valentine's Day?
Macro dosing over here? No, I'm really not. I promise.
You just realize that you're on YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Huh?
Oh no. Well, this is how my comedy career gets started, right? Just
Microdosing?
yes.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay.
And,
Well, takes all kinds. So it's legitimate.
and science can be whatever you want.
Science can be whatever you want.
If two
Oh
people
God,
agree
please
with
don't say
you-
that ever again. That's a depressing thought.
You just to find a couple of friends, and your stuff will be peer reviewed, and that's it.
Peer reviewed. Jerry, okay, you review it. What do you think? Jerry says emoji check mark. There we go. Done.
And you just have to do something and cite you, and there we go. It's
Yeah.
so cool.
Exactly. Put it in APA style. Finito. No problem.
You don't have even to read it. Just Oh, that's
Yeah,
another
just get some
problem.
points.
I think we're.
Just Reddit upvote it,
That's pretty much a lot of scientific paper. It's kind of and you're choosing the one who you want to upvote your thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to be fair, in the science community, the people that are in it are usually beefing and competitive with each other. So they really want to find a problem. They want to find a problem with that paper.
Like in design, everyone is a scientist right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to start this debate? I really do think that everyone is a designer. It's just that there's better designers than others.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's part of the process. You need to have
You need to have ideas in the room that are a jumping off point for better ideas. So some people are jumping off point idea people,
You're
but it's
subtle.
still
You're
useful.
subtle.
It's still part of the process. You still get to the same place. Doesn't matter who did it. It's fine.
Yeah, in design thinking, I had this problem where we had to prototype and have fun with users, and users were part of the process. And people said, yeah, well, it's kind of a nightmare if we're doing that. We're not saying we should do what people ask us to do. That in general, even in science, even, in life,
Yeah.
my mom will be the first victim of this. I'm not saying what she said I should do. Just, insights, learning from people, be curious.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird where they switch from we never talk to user for the whole decade, and now we're doing exactly what they're asking us to do. Well,
Now we're doing exactly what word for word. That's yes. There's still a filter that needs to be between those things,
filters or expertise,
Little expertise.
engineering,
Little
science
magic.
stuff. Magic. Spreading a little magic. Yeah.
the magic layer.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love
there are
that
too
when you
many-
have a. Okay, I just
No,
love
no,
that
no,
when
no.
you're in a user test And they're like, look, what you need here? A toggle. I just want to toggle it off. And I'm like, everyone's calling everything a toggle. Like, is it? And I'm like, what does the word, what are they saying a toggle is? And what are they trying to tell me? Okay, they don't mean a toggle. They mean just some kind of setting.
Can I?
Okay.
Yeah. Same thing for the word pop. When they say pop, what do you mean exactly? Is it a pop window? Is it pop up brighter? Is it pop? You mean animation? What do you mean by, you know?
Yeah.
And the word disappear. I want that to disappear. Okay, what do you mean exactly by disappear? And you cannot just ask this question. You don't want to see it right now. You want to keep it aside. You want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, disappear forever?
Okay, I think we should start because I heard you maybe a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
One of the problem that we faced was, the admin panel of adding users, user managing and user access and all this. And you said something like you would love to design something just for that because it's the can we say the bastard child of enterprise UX? You build everything and the
Sure.
admin side is just, I don't know.
Yeah. The ugly cousin or the whatever.
Yeah, the cousin.
Who knows? Yes, it's underloved and so important. It's sad.
Exactly. And borrowing cookie. Oh, whatever. Sorry, I just heard myself on Twitter. Sorry. So borrowing cookie. I'm pretty sure it's not a real name. Ask a question about that, and let's dig a little bit. So let's move. So user guidance via error messages displayed in the scenarios in which user provides the same email address. Okay. So you're inviting people in bulk. Good. And the admin has to provide an email address for the users. Great. So if an existing email address is entered, your error message is shown. Well, okay, there's already someone with this email. And case 2, user entered the same address for 2 or more users, and the error message in mine is, duplicate email. So same thing, you're importing and 2 users have the same email. So do these messages provide clarity? That's one. Do these messages draw a clear line between the 2 scenarios? And do we need to specify the next action? So what do you think about this problem? What do you think it is the problem?
Well, what is the problem? I mean, this is always a recurring problem with any batch actions, I feel like, right? Is handling errors, because all of a sudden you don't have 1 error, you have 47 errors.
Exactly.
Yes. So they're doing this in bulk. It's a bit of a clue. The admin is doing it. That's a clue. So, I mean, as the problem or the user story itself, I would think, is not actually too difficult in this situation.
No, I think not.
Are you writing or? Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, so as an admin user,
As an admin, yeah.
I want to invite multiple users at once so that I can save time.
So that I can save time. Yeah, absolutely. That's one. So
And repetitive action. I don't know. Well, I mean, time is probably
well,
fine.
so I don't have to enter them one by one. That's mostly.
Yeah, totally. We've definitely seen this kind of user story in the past.
That's pretty much what I want. I don't want to do it one by one.
Yeah.
Of course, it will save time. Of course, there's advantages here and there. Okay. But there's another user problem here, I think. I don't want to say frictionless thing. or easy to do, or not too complicated, not not too many back and forth. But I feel that there's feedback here, validation here, and that's what we're trying to fix also. Is if I'm importing, inviting multiple user with the same, with some having the same email at once, that's a problem. I don't want to. I think this is where we have to find out. I don't want to fix it one by one. I don't want to. What's the problem here?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot we can imagine. I think there's, I don't know where we want to fit this in to the kind of problem solving part. But we do actually have a few standards or guidelines on error messages from our errors article that I'd love to kind of
Okay.
bring up in a bit. But there, there's a couple of, I don't know, maybe there's a couple of things to note here around the kind of trickiness of this sort of problem. And maybe that's separate from the problem statement itself. Because our
do you mean?
gotchas are like things to look out for, some familiar ways that people can make a mistake with this kind of interaction, maybe, or just
I see what you mean. I'm trying to have a user story that is more about this problem exactly, fixing this problem, because they already have this feature, adding multiple users.
Yeah.
So we're not designing that. I'm pretty sure they have something great, it's working, and it's a new feature. What we're trying to fix
Yeah,
is
that's
if
true.
there's a problem when I'm adding.
Yeah, that's true.
So we're not saving time or adding them one by one. Maybe what we want to fix here is, okay, if there's a problem, how can the system can help me figure it out without me
Sure,
going back
yeah.
to the file, removing them, and doing my manual stuff. So I don't know how to phrase it, but don't leave me hanging and do the manual stuff before I'm importing them again.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So, um, um, so let me just try. I'm just gonna try to write it as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes hard to like look at words and also write. Um,
Yeah, because like you said, you already have some solution in your head. I totally understand that. And we do, and we cannot wait to design it. But again, framing the problem is everything. We'll frame not just our common understanding, but how much time we're spending on this problem. What the stakeholder is asking us. What's the frame of our scope? What's our scope? So it's important also. Oh, you're trying something here. Okay, good. I need to understand when went wrong and how to fix it. Okay, let's improve the most clear and efficient way. Well, I think what you mean is to fix it without going back to my file or fix it right in the moment or something like that. Because of course we'll do something that is clear and efficient. Let's hope so. But without too much back and forth with other file or in the system or with some.
I think the most reasonable thing would be that you don't have to the back and forth thing. I think that would be because the whole point of this mama feature, which is the batch actions, is to reduce this one by one thing, this one by one interaction in the first place. So,
Or something like that. It's not maybe just. Well, I don't
without
want
a
to.
lot of back and forth, because I don't think we can make it zero
Well,
necessarily.
zero.
But
That's the goal. That's the mission. That's hope. Let's just start over now. Is it a back and forth, or let's say I don't have the answer. The problem is there's two users, same email address. There's a problem. I need to fix it, but I don't know it right now. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a mistake. Maybe I have to delete a user, or maybe I need to ask someone else it's the right email, and maybe I have to email them, get in contact. Is the same email. So
yeah.
how the system can help me do that? Maybe it's maybe not with their
Well,
YAML file.
but what's interesting about this is it's, I kind of in my head grouped this all with like I grouped it all into the category of errors with the email, right? So I'm like, go in and fix this comma and make it a dot, whatever, But this is not what the problem is. The problem specifically is duplicates, right? And so systems can handle duplicates. Like maybe you're right that like you don't have to necessarily manipulate your file. We could probably figure out something where the UI or the logic in the system does something for you.
Well, that's better. So what I sense is, oh, sorry, I'm making a mistake here, is I want to import people with duplicate email. With duplicate email. That's what I want to do. But so I don't have to. So what's happening if I do that? If I import, a file with users and they have duplicate email, what would be the admin user next task
Well,
here?
what would be their next task? I don't know well, it really depends on how the system wants to handle duplicates and stuff.
Let's say the system
Because,
doesn't want to no duplicate. You cannot deal with that. You have to fix it somehow. What would be the admin user next thing?
well, I think part of it we can assume is that it's not necessarily fair to our admin user to reject all of the other ones that they've just submitted correctly.
Yeah, that's one.
Because then, it's like so annoying. One thing about oh, well, that was an almost sneeze. Not quite. I wasn't thinking. I was trying to sneeze.
So maybe that's the problem. So the deal is, as an admin user, I want to import a list of people, and deal with the duplicate email, so I don't have to reject them. That's the thing. So they don't have to go back, or I don't know. What do you think? The
So
correct
they don't have to
email.
reject the correct emails. So we don't, I think, well, part of it too is I want to make some progress, right? It's
Yeah.
about making progress. If you just imported like 5,000 emails and two of them or three of them are duplicates or something, that is really dumb to not to not be able to import anybody, right?
Or to lose the two that you need to import. You'd
Yeah.
be importing everyone, and there's one problem or two problems. Say, I'll let someone deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so they don't have to reject the correct emails, and there's an efficient way to deal with the duplicates in the system.
Well, maybe the problem is that I want to import a list of people and deal with the duplicate right away. Or
Yeah, sure. Yeah, right away. I think that makes sense.
And deal with the, sorry, duplicate without external action or something. Right,
Without like restarting the process.
restarting the process or leave people out. I think that's a problem because that's the goal of the admin. I have a task. Please, can you add, 100 users? And most of the admin, if there's a problem, they will maybe some say, well, 99% is correct. So let's hope that the error will just disappear.
Yeah.
1 is okay. 12 is kind of a problem. 20 is kind of, I don't know how to deal with that. And so I'm stuck now. Who should I talk to? Who sent me this list? Whatever it is. So we have to design for this. This, I think, is a great user story. Okay. Are you
Okay.
happy with it?
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
I think it's good. So I'm just gonna say the problem. Meow. I'm just gonna make it blue because that's kind of fun. Okay. So this is our problem. I think maybe it would be useful to talk about some of the assumptions that the person solving this problem has made. What do you think, Benoit?
I'm thinking right now. So let's say that the classic thing is just to receive a bunch of error, success, 98 of your user are added, and you receive an email, an invitation, whatever. There's 2 people that have a duplicate email. So just having an error. Okay, so we can design for that, and we can talk about the messaging, for example, duplicate email, or the email is already associated with an account, whatever it is. I think the messaging is quite okay because there's just 1 or 2 admin user, I think, and the first time they will encounter that, they will kind of understand it, and then after that, they will be the only one. It's not like everyone in the company is adding multiple users. So the message is okay. The next step is what is missing out. This is where it's
Yeah.
not clear what I have to do next. Who they are, that would be fun to know. What can I do with that? Can you extract a list and ask the original sender to fix it for you? Can you actually have a form when you can make the change? Can you email their managers so you can, I don't know, kind of find who they are, find maybe another match in your system? So I think the error problem is quite okay. You have a list. Success. Now, what failed, what you have to do with it. And yeah, so we have 2 action now. You have, can I merge 2 users? Maybe. That's maybe one problem. Do I leave 1 user because there's already an address associated with this account? If there's
So there's a couple of prompts that we wrote in the errors article. Maybe they can get our brain going a little bit.
call.
So so a couple of things that we talk about, some prompts to kind of jump off from. So if you're determining an error message or what form of error feedback we'll take in the UI, this is part of it, because error messages themselves and the copy and everything is there, but also the reaction in the UI, the behavior that it has. What exactly is happening in this situation? So this is something that that I think we're pretty clear on. I mean, when this duplicate email was added to the system originally, or is it just duplicated in like your spreadsheet? Would be really interesting to know. And then make sure you understand the errors yourself. So that's the other thing, just in general with error messaging, right? So I think that with this situation, we also give people a prompt. Is there anything that we can prevent happening, this error happening in the first place?
So before displaying any errors.
Yeah. And this is, with a batch action where you're uploading a spreadsheet, I'm assuming, or a comma separated list, copying and pasting it or something like that. It's probably not really possible because you don't know what your data is going to return.
But it's interesting with this case
Because as you're touching on, Benoit,
that
this is there's a difference between a warning and an error, I think, here. And maybe we should include that in the article. The next iteration of this article is a little bit about warning versus error. Because not all errors are created equal. Some of them are blocking. Like, some of them are like, you cannot save this. Your data makes no sense. Other things are, okay, we ran this process. We had we parsed something and some stuff was weird. Here's all the stuff that was weird. FYI. And so I think here that would be one of the things to determine. That would probably be the key thing to determine with how you want to handle this situation, because maybe it's an FYI. It doesn't. Most people's data sucks. Their actual data source sucks from their HRIS or whatever, and so they're dealing with just like messy data that they don't need to clean up. They don't want to necessarily clean it all up. They just want to be like, okay, here it is. Add who you can add, right?
Or maybe do we? That's a good question to ask. So we have, a lot of data, and adding a user can trigger a lot of critical tasks, giving access to everyone, to everything, all at once, and it can be a critical task. So we could say, we'll help you before you actually, submit all of this, and say, are you sure? Do you want to merge? Because there's a problem here. Because if you click submit, the machine is going and now you cannot stop it. Or you say, most of it was okay. You have to deal with these two problems. So that's a question we could ask ourselves is, do we want to help people clean up the content before they submit it, or fix it after the fact? And then if we fix it after the fact, you're right. Is it an error warning? Oh, even before, we looked at your data, things are weird. You can go on, just take a look, check it out. Just make sure, are you okay? And you're okay, are you So
Yeah.
two approaches here.
Yeah. And the other thing is too, I'm just going to add this other just because they're a duplicate, they may be a duplicate in the file, or they may already be in the system. If they're already in the system, then do you want to resend them an invitation if they haven't actually signed up? Like, there's all this status indication to consider.
And maybe because people want to change, the role of it, and they're asking, the admin to add a user, but in fact it's not adding, it's changing a role.
Yeah, there's so many crazy computer variables in here. So touching on what you're saying, Benoit, like, this is where your mind was going. What UI components are the most appropriate for this situation? So make sure your UI has the stuff that, like, think about the UI that you have. So a modal window, a toast, a banner, inline feedback of other kinds. How much context does this error need? If it's really, really contextual, maybe it's inline. If it's like about the app itself, maybe it's a modal or something like that. And like make sure you hit it at the right level so you don't overshoot and be like, oh my God, critical error. When it's like, this is a duplicate email, like cool it. It's really like, is that, gonna give us like a huge, horrible consequence? I'm not really sure.
Interesting.
So.
What I see most of the time in things like that, the components is you have a list, a big data table, and you have a couple of actions. Add a user or add users. If you add a user, you have maybe a model or maybe expanding. I'm not sure you have a flow for a user. You have a model, putting in a lot of stuff, submit, the page refresh, then you have it. That's very common. And if you do a bulk, click on this, you have a bulk, a model, maybe I don't
Yeah.
see a flow that often. Model, click at that thing, done, okay, close it, refresh, add it.
Yeah.
Where I feel now is if you're adding a lot of people, maybe the component is not a model. Maybe the right component is not a model because now there's a flow. There's, decision tree here. You need some branch things. You maybe want to do this or that, or maybe you want to end it here, or you want to ask for approval, something like that. So I feel for this kind of thing, you may need to create a flow. So what component do you
Yeah.
have to create a flow? Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think sometimes we get into trouble. We want to do a quick, okay, just do this, but like do it as an upload of a spreadsheet.
And like, oh, it's just
An
an
upload of a spreadsheet. It's just not a big deal. But then you gotta always, like one thing we talk about in a lot of our interaction articles is to understand the stakes, to consider the stakes that are actually involved. How big of a deal is this thing? Anytime you have a batch action, you take a singular action and then you multiply it by 100, like,
Absolutely.
so
Exactly.
it deserves a lot more love than, a single,
An
like
error
just a
message.
button somewhere or like a quick thing, right? So, it's like, don't downplay what a batch action is. It's a power user feature. It's like a
Absolutely.
huge deal, right?
So we couldn't even break it down,
So,
For this, I would say, the first action is, well, give me what you have. Next would be, what would be next? Can we create a flow? What do you think? Just a
yeah,
little
why don't
flow.
we could even just do it wire flow. We don't even have to write
Exactly.
anything, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so let me just put a little UI here, you know,
Make it smaller, maybe.
state one. Well, it'll match all the other stuff,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
you know, but so
oh yeah,
there's
your action button.
there's some UI stuff. Ooh, here's everyone, and
Of
let's just put this into the enterprise context that it's in.
Yeah, if you're an enterprise, you actually have a big sidebar somewhere.
You got a big sidebar, so
You don't.
everyone, we're grounded.
Have you seen a lot of enterprise UX software with the mega menus and things like that, like we see in B2C? Not that much, no?
Not that much. I think if we worked on like a big, repository of data, like knowledge base, huge knowledge base kind of thing,
Or
maybe.
assets management, or
Yeah, something with like a lot of data
procurement,
defined.
maybe,
Yeah.
if you want to buy things. Anyway,
But yeah, not a lot of mega menus. I think also like, I mean, my feeling with a lot of this is like people just want to do the first navigation moment. They don't want to do like the whittle it down moment like all together. I know I don't. Maybe that's just my bias. So, okay, so I'm just putting our first thing as the state one. So this is like you just initiate the action. Is that fair? What do you think?
it's It's good enough.
So I'm going to say batch upload. Let's make it just a little specific. Okay. So Benoît, are you suggesting that we do a bit of like a progress indicator and stuff, and like a
Oh.
step process, step one
Absolutely.
process, or yeah? Okay. I think that makes sense. So yeah, this can still be the content area.
So whatever, progress type of patterns that you have, just use it, reuse it, not to invent one.
Yeah, sure.
So,
I'm just gonna
okay, great. I was-
put next.
Makes sense. And we have a pro somewhere.
And what am I gonna do? I'm gonna do a little drag and drop.
Oh.
I'm obsessed with drag and drop now. So
Mm-hmm.
I cannot be I cannot be stopped. And then our little friend is adding a file. Let's see what icon I have for a file. They're going to be adding a, oh my God, Excel file. Where's my Excel file? Huh, there you go. Oop. People dot, what is it? XLS, I think? Something?
Oh,
anyway.
maybe. Well, or CSV.
Yeah.
And now we have our first feedback mechanism that is, loading, successful, whatever it is. Wow. Good. Starting to be complex. So inside this step, we're uploading it. You maybe have to wait, whatever it is, something is happening. And then when it's done, it's in the system. It's all good. It's the right format. No problem in data structure, whatever. And maybe there. Okay, that's my question. Do we want to structure the list, or it's happening in this first step? What do you think? We're dropping something, when adding something, and then it's all good, or I don't know what's this file. Why you're saying me a PNG, or I don't recognize the columns or things like that. Are we want to do that there or somewhere else? Just about the format, not about validating the content.
Yeah, yeah, let's just fiddling around, not allowing certain file formats, and we've got descriptions on like what is allowed to be in here. It needs to be people, blah, blah, blah.
And they use a template, let's say, and so the columns just matched, and it's all good.
Sure. Yeah. And then, but our next step is around communicating with people about what you're about to submit, right? Or what you're, so this is what you were talking about, Benoît, with this warnings and stuff like that. So this is the pivotal moment in a high stakes interaction where you're like, cool.
So we made the decision to help them before they click submit,
Yeah.
we made, okay, so it's intentional, guys. Okay, great. So let's help them, making sure that final submit is the right one. Good. Okay, so we're displaying what? Do we display the list of users, or we're displaying, giving them any messages about what's working, what's not working? Do they need to preview what they will import, or are we just helping them?
Well, given the fact it's not super complex, I'm assuming like it could just be a comma separated list of emails without names or without anything. But that's a good point. If you are really concerned with data integrity going and you're doing an importing kind of thing here, then previewing it before you do it is a great idea. But you would want some idea of like these many worked, right? You want positive your confirmation, and then you'd want your problematic stuff as well.
So do we want, again, to preview a list of because we made the assumption that they're using maybe a template or it's all being matched up. So we want to, oh, I'm not even sure now. I'm not even sure I listened to you. What did you say again? So we want to preview anything that they're importing. I forgot.
I was just saying like we want to actually see it maybe if the data integrity is really important.
Okay.
And it's like complicated, potentially like multiple data points or something like that.
If we assume it's just a name, a last name, an email, if we assume just that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good either way
Exactly.
on this one, so I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
Are duplicates.
Or, oh yeah, duplicates, and there's another message that we found the user already in the system.
Yeah. So we could do like email@email.com.
I'll create the other one. Let's say we found 7 emails are duplicate, and
I'm getting flashbacks right now of RoboForm, Benoit.
RoboForm. What can we do? What can you say? Yeah.
This is, so I just said 7. Let's just do 3. You're right. Let's do 3.
Duplicate. And 7 emails have been from the system. Okay. Okay, good. Same here. So that's what the problem that Cookie just sent us. So we could list them all. We could do that. In the system and duplicates. Okay, if they are duplicate, we may need to provide also the name and first name, let's say. John,
and we would want to say where they are, I think, too. Like that's as we go through in our errors article, we talk about the kind of nuances of how you would communicate an error. So like the first level is like something went wrong. Then you're like, what went wrong? And then you're like, what went wrong and where was it? And then you're like, what went wrong? Where was it? And what do I do next? So it's kind of, it's a process that like builds up in terms of the like fidelity of information that you share.
Okay.
So why do we have 2 of these?
Well,
What are you thinking?
we have 3 email duplicate. So in the file that I'm importing, I have 3 lines with 3 different people, like Benoît. So we are preventing the problem right now. In line, let me just kind of do 2 things at once. So we have 2 problems from UX StackExchange question. Is that in the file there's 3 lines, 3 different people, last name, but they all share the same email. So what do you want to do here? And then you have the other problem is, you want to add 7 emails, but they already exist. They already are users. So what do you want to do? So that's why we have 2 messages. If you remember, let me just bring back the problem. We had this. So this one. So we have 2 cases. Existing email address is entered, and we have a problem, and duplicate email address provided. So we may want to fix that.
Okay.
That's the thing. do we? Well, I just separated because why not? But yeah. So now the question is how we want to help them.
Okay. So, um,
So, so do we want to help them in bulk or one by one now? You want to
well,
say,
yeah,
you want to
yeah,
exclude all of them and create, some kind of a report and you can deal after, or you want to fix it right away?
yeah. That's
a
a good
great
Let's have
question.
this
Yeah.
just.
So, uh, oop,
Just need to add 7 emails.
eh. And these are all different, but they are duplicates, right?
Right, exactly.
So,
Oh, not duplicate. No, you're not duplicate. Yeah, exactly. It's just different email. Yeah, exactly.
George. Jeremy. Shelly. Okay, this made me feel better. Okay.
So right away we can say, I can see for the 7 emails that have been found in the system, to give the admin a choice. Do you want to merge? Do you want to erase, not erase, but not merge, but how you
Ignore or
ignore, or use this new data? That's exclude. How do you say? I don't even. I know the word.
replace.
Replace, exactly. So we have more than one choice here.
Yeah.
So maybe a drop down will be necessary here or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
I think so.
better.
Or do nothing. Or, oh yeah, exclude, replace, or fix them. So let's say the action or fix it. That could be one, yeah.
So, and then I would also really think it would be nice if you could check box oh no, maybe a checkbox is inappropriate. Hold on.
Yeah, because you don't you want to do things in bulk. I see what you mean. Yeah. That's smart.
Don't copy
well-
this. Copy. But
Well,
I'm doing UX copy crimes on live TV right now.
your scope's creeping at the same time also.
Well, maybe it's just like exclude them all or start again, I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe we're scope creeping by allowing you to individually do something on each of these. I don't know.
Got me. Absolutely. So what do you think we should do? Do the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just we'll just make it scope full. It's full of scope. Full of scope just for your
Think about some of the steps.
Okay, good. Oh God, didn't work. What's happening? It's still cool that we can work on the same document at the same time live.
It is.
That,
It's so great.
yeah.
I love it.
It feels so normal, but
It feels so normal. And it was like, I remember working on a project in the end of 2019. And we were still working on a UI tool, which was really bad for versioning. So we were actually sending back and forth stuff or like putting things in a Google Drive folder and stuff, and it was, oh, is it that version or whatever version? And it was like, okay, well, I'm going to work on this page. So then you'll send it back and then we'll add the page into the file. It was like pretty wild. Pretty wild.
I don't know what's happening with Whimsical right now and giving me some problems. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's add two other. Whoops, sorry. Two other.
I made up all those names.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, I'll write George.
Yeah.
We should just keep with the whole Seinfeld crew. Newman.
Newman.
And Elaine.
Okay. Good. That's good. So if we click on fix, I'm pretty sure. My hypothesis is that we'll have a model just to change one by one, maybe, because you don't want to
Something like that.
This is flow, whatever. So you click, you have a model, you change it, and then there it is, and you hit reload, and then it disappears, and now you have 91 of that much. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's good, and we can apply them below. We helping them. Great. So now duplicate.
Yeah, so this is like an interesting one. This would be, only one of these can be used. So,
radio
only
button.
one of them could be. Yeah, radio button, like a list of radio buttons. Use this. Well, feels a little clunky, but something to that effect, right? Oh yeah,
you'll-
there you go.
And you'll have groups of duplicates. So that's group 1, maybe. So that means what? Yeah. Group 1. And you can have multiple groups of duplicates, by the way, right?
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
So we may need a field set of some kind. Say that we put a rectangle just for fun. It's not the best.
Because you could either select which one to use or reject all of them. That would be the other option.
I don't know how to do a field set, but you understand the point here. And so you can choose or
Or exclude. Let's say exclude all.
exclude all. Okay.
That's a secondary action.
Okay, if you exclude them, in the next step we'll have to. Oh, okay. I'm too far. Yeah, let's work on this screen first. Sorry, I was in the confirmation page. Okay, so that's good. So use this. Can I fix it? I can fix it if I want to. If I found it's just a problem, a mistake here, sometime it's just a letter or something, or just a number. I can fix it and then just disappear. That's one. And the duplicate, could it be just the email or could it also be the name or whatever? No.
Just email.
I think that's the
Just
unique
email.
key that or unique
Okay.
variable they need.
Maybe we need a toggle now for exclude all. What do you think?
Well, actually, we could just actually say,
Oh.
go like this.
Exclude all. Yeah.
Oh, again, copywriting crimes. I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm
the
sorry,
intent is
world.
clear. The intent is- yeah, I
The
don't
intent-
even know how to write my name. That's a problem.
Benoît can't even write his name. It's tough. It's tough stuff. I get it.
Okay, so that where we're wrong here? What would we missed here? What kind of a use case or edge case that we need to look for?
Well, I would say the one thing that, we're forcing people to like do something on each of these things. But we don't have an overarching thing of like, I don't care about any of that.
Well,
So just don't ignore everything and go forward. So, we could say,
oh,
ignore.
I want them to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
There you go. Sure. Yeah.
ignore everything. Eh, Okay, ignore anything and replace. Don't import them. Don't.
Exclude. Yeah. Or ignore all of these warnings and don't import or something like that. Because again, like there's like we want to think that like our world runs on clean data. I want to imagine that. That's like what helps me fall asleep at night. But
That's
not
it.
true.
Yeah, okay.
I'm like
So
picturing,
don't watch the
clean
TV.
data.
Don't read the news, by the way, if it's just that, because it's a nightmare. Well, there's
Yes.
good things. There's good things. So maybe we are helping them by saying, oh, there's problems. I know them. I already know. So don't import them. Just import them, the one that are new and great. So that's good. We're helping them here. So we're fixing them. We're preventing the problem, or we are giving the user a choice to just, not care about it.
Yes.
But at
That's
least
great.
it's an intentional decision.
Yes, exactly. Okay, now
next,
state 4. Let's not
well,
forget about.
you put next, and is it disable or just mistake?
It's disabled in this state because you haven't made your decisions yet. So if you had made your decision, then it would become enabled. I was sort of picturing it like that.
You have to make a decision. Okay, got it.
I can call it confirm or something too, or
Oh, well,
upload or something, whatever the.
import, well, exactly. What we could add maybe is just a preview here. Preview, and it could open a model with, all the one are correct maybe. Again, over scope, ping stuff, but why not?
But that's what we're trying to do.
Exactly. So it's done. You need some kind of a feedback anyway. So maybe have a list so you can send to a person who sent you the list that I added all of them, or also send them a report of I had a problem with them. So can you fix it and send me something new? So I would imagine maybe another file you can download. So the successful one and the one that failed. That could be enough because they started with a file. Let's end with a file. What do you think? Is it crazy or?
Yep, that sounds good. It's
Okay.
crazy.
Yep, it's crazy. Okay. So
Down of imported users. Oh gosh, wow. I might have to take a vacation or something.
the vapor of the drinking during Christmas. That's why. You're running
Exactly.
on yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
I would prefer to have two files. One is success, and one is failing, because I asking the user to open it, to clean it, and to send it to someone else, to just send the one that failed. So I would say of success.
And don't be afraid to put sparkles in your interface. That's another important lesson here. They're readily available. You can get them just in all the icon libraries. What's the problem?
Why not?
You got to party. I mean, if you can put a little visual embellishment for a success or confirmation moment, I'm not mad about it.
Like the one we've seen in this medical software where everything is so serious, but the model just
It does I don't know, starburst or something.
was
You open a modal, close
really
it.
efficient. Exactly.
Yeah. It's a little bit of flourish that you never saw coming, and then you're like, what?
Exactly. Loved it. Okay, so let's align that just for fun because we're a designer. It's not pixel perfect. We
There's a
created.
lot of things that aren't really aligned, but
Oh,
it's okay.
okay. Good. I think we found a solution. Can we summarize what we did for people that don't want to watch, us rambling for 1 hour?
They just want to skip to the end and not see how the sausage is made. Well, I'll tell you, it's important how the sausage is made, how the brain churns through that random.
Or you're saying that to who exactly?
Our horde of viewers.
Okay, let's go back in. I'm following you. You have the floor.
Okay. Welcome to story time, everyone. So our friend on StackExchange wanted to know all about handling error messages for duplicate emails when a whole bunch are imported into a product at the same time. So they asked us for a little confirmation on how do these emails look, and they were curious about the correcting of the errors and how that behavior might work. So we started with creating the problem statement. So we started at the really high level of this feature overall, and we realized that's not actually what this is about. So we did 2 iterations of our problem statement, and we ended up with something a little bit like this. As an admin user, I want to import a list of people and deal with the duplicates without restarting the process or leaving people out. So they want to do this batch action, but they want to deal with it, any issues like this, like duplicates, as quickly as possible. We spoke about some of our guidance that we have online around error messages and just dealing with an error message versus error feedback. So there's a difference between those two. We explored that. We talked about the stakes that are involved with a batch action. And that really led us to thinking about, okay, this deserves a flow. Like this is taking a singular action and basically making it 1,000 times more important. So you have to treat it like that in your UI. So we decided, hey, we're going to go with the flow. We also talked about, this difference between throwing an error and being like, okay, now you have to fix it versus a proactive approach where you help people before they actually make the error, I guess. Mm-hmm. So what we created was a 4-step flow. The first state of our flow is just initiating the action of batch upload. The next step is the next step is importing your actual file, and so the handling around that. Notice that there's a bit of UI here, a bit of real estate that we're putting towards handling this thing, and we've got an instruction right there at the top. The next screen, this is the feedback about what you're about to do. So it's the juiciest screen of them all. And what we do here, we're actually doing a confirmation of what they're about to execute. So we state at the top what the status is, which is that 4,990 emails of the 5,000 are correct. But we've got some issues that we need to deal with. So here we look at a separate section for the emails that are duplicates when it's the same email but multiple people. We allow people to deal with this on the fly. They can either fix them or they can exclude them all. That reminds me, we also talked about, this difference between things that are warnings versus things that are errors. Not everything is a blocking error. Some things are an FYI. So you need to think about how are, which category did these fit into? How much extra work am I making for someone on something they may not care about? Something to consider.
You can stay in a relationship even if there's red flags.
Exactly. Or you can also exclude that relationship. So then we have another handling on the other case where the user is already in the system. So there we let people deal with those on the fly. So there may be various actions that they might execute, resending an email, resending an invitation, or replacing it with this new user or something like that. Lots of things that could happen in the system. Again, we could also apply that concept of batch actions here as well. There's 7 shown here. There could be 1,000. So maybe you want to ignore them all. Maybe your data sucks, right? That's allowed as well. And then at the kind of parent level, we said, okay, maybe you can just ignore this whole message, right? Maybe your data is just really messy and we shouldn't make you make a whole bunch of decisions. So we allow that as an option too. So finally, once you fixed everything or you ignored everything, you can complete the import process and you have, boom, your success/confirmation moment. Woohoo! Sparkles are required every time for this, so don't forget those. And basically what we do here is we do a confirmation of all the things that were successful at a really high level, what was actually successful, as in users were imported. And then we allow you to download a log of both the users that were imported and the ones that weren't imported. So then you have a bit of a trail on what happened overall. You can execute your batch actions like an absolute power user at that point. Right, Benoît?
Exactly. Wonderful. Let's have more happy users in the world and let's
Yes.
take care of them. And now you're just starting to, yeah, exactly. So thank you for that, Kira. That was fun.
It was.
Again, it was. Even a small one as just, is it the messages okay? Well, that's the designer consultant side. Well, what about designing for other pages?
What about designing for other pages?
We'll send you the bill. Thank you for that. If you have any problems again, comment below, send us an email, tweet at us. We'll fix it for free and we'll just geek around. We love that. Subscribe to the newsletter. We'll talk about this one. And we have a lot of other stuff coming. We have heuristic stuff that you'll love. We have a lot more if you want to learn more about the articles that we're publishing and all of this. So again, subscribe. Have fun, and again, thank you, Kira. Let's see observation for the next Dev Poem of the week.
Sounds great.